Hi, I'm Aaron.
And I'm Matthew. And we're back here on this training video to talk about the style of Doppelbock. Now, Doppelbock is a type of bock, which is a style of beer that originated in Germany. Historically, as it goes, the bock was brewed originally in the German town of Beck, which is in northern Germany. And then the Bavarians, the Bavaria area of Germany is the southern part, traveled up to Beck and tasted the beer there. Now, when they brought it back to their region, with the accent, the Bavarian accent, the word Beck comes out as Bock. Bock.
Like Bock.
Exactly. Bock also is the word for billy goat in German, which apparently is a hilarious pun, which is why a lot of times on your styles of bock, be it my bock, be it as a Doppelbock or a traditional bock, you'll oftentimes see depictions of goats or rams. Now, this beer is called Eyinger Celebrator. Now, the ATOR suffix on Doppelbocks is very traditional. It actually pays homage to the monk Salvator, who's credited as the father of the style. So Doppelbock basically just translates as double bock, and double meaning that it's slightly stronger than what a typical bock beer is.
Yeah, that's right. And most of the time when you hear or see Doppelbock, because it's stronger than a regular bock, it's going to be darker in color. That's not always the case. There are pale versions or blonde versions, if you will, of Doppelbocks, but most of them are going to be dark, just like this guy. Now, this guy that we have here is the Eyinger Celebrator. Now, even though this is an actual German variant of it, it's very, very traditional. It's 6.7% ABV, so it's kind of right in the middle, maybe a little bit on the lower end. Some Doppelbocks get way up there in ABV, which is interesting also because this is a lager. They're not ales, so these are bottom fermented yeast strains that are doing their work here with lagers. And if you remember anything about the top fermenting versus the bottom fermenting yeast strains, we know that those bottom fermenting lager yeast strains usually don't do very well when they're put in high alcohol environments. The alcohol can actually kill the yeast. So you've got to have some pretty robust yeast, some pretty heavy duty yeast to be able to stand up to these big bold beers.
Absolutely.
And because they're lager yeast, these beers usually provide for an exceptionally smooth drinking experience, considering the ABV. So the flavors are very pronounced. They're there, they're bold, they're distinct, but they're very smooth and rounded out. And that's what you're looking at when you're trying to look at a Doppelbock, right?
Absolutely. And most lagers, for that matter.
Yeah. All right. So we're going to open this one up. I don't know what happened to my goat pennant. These come with goat pennants. They make great Christmas gifts.
Little ornaments, sure.
Little ornaments. All right. So definitely it's dark. Very dark, but not quite see-through all the way. You're getting really nice notes of red, of mahogany, very dark, rich, almost a ruby, almost a dark ruby red.
Yeah, not quite black, definitely clear as well. I mean, very dark, so difficult to see through to the other side, but certainly a filtered beer. And it's got a very nice, almost like a cola colored head to it. Very medium-sized bubbles. It's not tight, it's not pillowy, and it's not super loose either. Really pretty standard for this style. Definitely looks good. I can smell it already from over here.
Wow. Licorice. I'm getting licorice all over.
Yeah, there's some rich brown breads to it, some nutty earthiness to it as well. Maybe a touch of almost like a macadamia nut.
I'm getting some faint spices too.
Sure, and
anise definitely to go along with the licorice, but yeah, a little bit of nutmeg.
Touch of chocolate to it as well.
Yeah.
A little coffee.
I mean, it's definitely a sweetness. I think over everything we've described, it definitely falls into the camp of sweetness.
Absolutely, yeah, and it's got a very familiar lager-esque type of aroma, if you will.
From the yeast, right?
Absolutely.
All right, I'm ready to taste.
All right, cheers.
Cheers. I think it's almost exactly what I said before about that rounding out, the smoothness. The flavors are there mid-palate, and then they drop off. I'm not tasting a whole lot at all on the back of my palate.
Yeah, very, very mild finish to it. Very well composed flavors. I get a little bit of brown sugar to it, some caramelized sugar. Some brown breads. I still get a little bit of that licorice, although I think it comes through in the nose more than it really does in the palate. But just very, very rounded and very smooth on the back end.
Yeah, there's a lot of different things going on as with any good beer there should be. But this one, God, it's so drinkable. Especially looking at the ABV and looking at the color, you would think that it wouldn't be as drinkable as it is.
Yeah, it's got very moderate carbonation to it as well, which I think helps to kind of make it that drinkable. That it's not super fizzy. Doesn't taste flat by any stretch, but the levels of carbonation really kind of make it smooth and nice. And it's got kind of a light medium mouthfeel to it. Despite how dark in color it is, it's really not that heavy.
No, it's very silky to me. I don't want to say the word light because it's not a light mouthfeel because it still contains all those nice flavors, but it's a very silky, smooth mouthfeel.
Yeah, absolutely. And this is really one of the probably 3 most famous and probably best brewed Doppelbocks in the world.
Now, I know we don't do a whole lot on food pairing in these videos, but what could you pair this with? To me, I feel like this is one of those beers that could pair with a lot of different foods.
Sure, I think traditionally it's going to pair most with some of your braised meats, like a pot roast, some savoriness. If you get some nice vegetables, some potatoes, carrots, onion, really that's going to pair very, very well with it. It's got some sweetness to help kind of balance out some savory dishes. A meatloaf would work excellent. A shepherd's pie would work excellent for this. Kind of that European comfort food, if you will.
Yeah, sausages from Germany too. I feel like it would balance out a lot of spiciness from the broths.
So I'm pretty sure most German brewers brew beers specifically to pair with their sausages.
That's true.
So.
I'm the American, can't you tell?
So Doppelbocks are great beers for people that are trying to explore a little bit more into craft beer. I know personally, when I first got into craft beer, I drank a lot of Doppelbocks. Actually, Spot and Optimator was one of my very one of my first go-to beers. It's intriguing to people because they do have elevated alcohol content. They feel like the perception from the guest is that they're drinking a big beer, even though it's not super, super big and hearty. The depth or the deepness of the color and also just kind of the richness of some of the flavors really kind of can be very appealing to somebody that's trying to expand their palate, to expand their beer horizons.
All right. On
Cheers.
that, I'm gonna work on expanding my horizons some more with this with this goat beer.